Would like to begin the question and answer period now. Don's going to give us a bit of a direction on how it's going to work, but before we do that, I would like to answer the first question, and I got asked frequently at the break, where's Barb Higgins? Could you give us a reason why she could not attend? And I want to let you know that I received an email from Don Lovett who said, Ryan, I'm sorry there's some confusion with the form. You mentioned all candidates will attend. You and I discussed this several days ago, and I regretted to inform you that Barb Higgins was booked all day Sunday with meetings, events, etc. My response to him on Facebook was the following. Don, I believe we indicated all candidates have been invited, not confirmed. We currently have 11 of 14 candidates attending. We are all curious as to what she is doing that is so important that she would miss a major forum with 300 plus citizens. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we have 326 people here today. Would really appreciate an answer. Just for the record, we phoned and emailed Barb and yourself on at least 6 separate occasions beginning July 29th. I phoned and emailed her the day after she announced. Now, I have to say I was a little disappointed that her campaign manager, when I asked, just out of curiosity, what's she doing that's so important, he said, none of your business. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can only tell you the truth. We are a nonpartisan group. We don't support any. We're open to all, and I have to say I was rather disappointed that every other candidate that we could get a hold of and find is here today, and so there's an opportunity, and that is answering that question. Ladies and gentlemen, onward, our chair of our audience panel, Don Thompson.
So a lot of Raiders cramp out there. I'm not sure how many questions we have, but there's got to be 70 or 80 questions. We will not be able to get all of them. We've allocated 45 minutes. Candidates, listen up. We're going to ask questions in a round-robin sequence based on the order of the agenda. We'll ask the question. You'll be asked to keep your answer to 30, maybe 45 seconds. We could theoretically get kind of 3 questions in per candidate. We're going to start with questions that were specifically addressed to specific candidates first, and then most of the questions we received were general questions which we've kind of categorized under infrastructure or taxation or city council cooperation, those kinds of things. So we'll get started. And if a question is asked of one candidate, but you want to talk, I'm sorry, we just can't do that. We have to keep the questions sort of round robin, impartial to each different candidate. So thanks very much.
Just to reinforce, maximum minute, we're not going to throw buttons, but we are going to notice. And secondly, I've been asked by Global TV if you would definitely speak into the microphone because this will be rebroadcast on their website. So, take it away, panel.
Bob? First question is for Mr. Sam. You mentioned that you're going to cut taxes by 2.5% per annum. How do you propose to do that?
Who here doesn't think there's waste at City Hall? Put your hands up. Everybody knows there's waste. I'm going to cut out the waste, and I'm going to increase revenue. Few things that make a business work.
For Bob Hawkworth, and it's a combination. I've got a number of questions that are somewhat similar, so this is compositive. Why do you think Calgary LRT is the best in Canada? This person was in Montreal in '69 and LRT was better. And if you have so much foresight, why did the West Leg go before the East Leg? Is it because the mayor had 2 properties in the Northwest?
Calgary's LRT is the best in North America based on ridership. Cities all across the United States have made investments, Canadian cities as well. Calgary has more ridership on our LRT than anybody else in North America. There's a independent, objective assessment of all of our transportation infrastructure needs and projects. The SLRT has been for a very long time the next leg to go, the fourth one, and we got going on it. The next leg after west is southeast, and once that's completed, north central comes after that. The connection to the airport is along the north central LRT, and once we get through southeast and get the money, we'll move forward in the priority in which these legs have been established.
15% of Calgarians use transit, 30% in Toronto.
We're going to move on to the next question here. This is specifically for Greg Burrows. What is your policy towards public transportation and park and ride?
Well, two things. When it comes to park and ride, I mentioned this a few weeks back, and it's also in my brochure. I'm probably the first one to actually put it in the right. To me, the $3 park and ride fee is silly. It's a regressive tax on those who are low income. It's a regressive tax on those trying to do the right thing. So how are we going to basically take $6 million out of the budget if that's what it does? Well, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to bring to Calgary the smart card. A card that I got the idea from the Octopus card in Hong Kong. Because in the last 3 years I've been in corporate finance, working with companies that are international, you learn things when you work with other people. So this $3 card, basically what it is, essentially a debit card that you can buy at retail stores across Calgary, you can reload online. The cash flow we generate by this card is providing for all city services, not just transit, but for parking, for pools, recreation, etc. But I went a step further. The taxi industry said they will also support this card, so we actually a truly transportation service card. And the last thing on parking, again, I put in my brochure that, to me, we need to stimulate the downtown. Parking is a problem. We want to, my job as mayor is, with council's help, that we will do $2 parking for lunches, 11:30, 1:30, let people come downtown to shop, do some, have some restaurants, and $2 all day Saturday. For the little bit of money we lose, I'm worried about the big picture, people. The $200 million we get in the downtown buildings that are not being able to survive because they can't afford. So you know what? I'm going to worry about the big picture, make sure we got a vibrant state downtown, and you know what? People will come.
Mr. McKenzie, the question is, have you been involved in any community work?
I have been involved with lots of community work. I wrestled through the University of Calgary for several years. I've trained with national team members. Currently, I'm preparing for going to the Commonwealth Games in India. I am preparing for the Olympics in 2012. I'm quite involved with amateur wrestling, specifically amateur wrestling, but sport in general. I'm also involved with the community association. I was involved with the Community Association in Country Hills. I'm also involved with a political party in the varsity constituency. So I do understand policy, I do understand the community, and I try to strengthen that connection to the community. Thank you.
This is a question for Joe Conley. What would you do to attract enough qualified medical professionals to staff the new hospital when it's open?
Thanks for the question. I think what we need to look at is delivering on must-haves and not nice-to-haves. And then once we've got that, we've got enough money to make it an attractive city. Unfortunately, in the last few years, we haven't become an attractive city. It's been very challenging. It's been a very expensive city to live in. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we have 25 priorities at City Hall. And it's my contention, if you have 25 priorities, you really don't have any. So we need to get back to delivering on those core priorities that Calgarians expect and Calgarians are looking for. That way make the city more affordable for not only professionals, but for everyone. The last census in 2009 actually showed for the first time in the 33 years I've been here that more people have left Calgary than migrated here. And that should be of a great concern to everyone in the audience. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. This question is for John Lord. Why did the City Council allow the provincial government to take municipal property tax dollars collected for public and private, public and Catholic schools to be placed in provincial revenues?
Well, I can't speak for city council since I haven't been on it for 10 years, but that is a very interesting question and difficult issue. The issue of how much the city sends to Edmonton in property taxes is a key issue for all of us. And as MLA, I brought that issue up and served on the committee that made these very strong recommendations that the city of Calgary ought to be able to keep more of its property taxes that are collected. We do send a lot of money out of the city to the provincial governments. There are political realities there in terms of who has the majority control at the provincial government level. But you can rest assured that as mayor, as mayor, I would be fighting very hard on behalf of the city of Calgary. And I know the people up there personally as former colleagues. So I believe that I could have a very strong influence on changing those formulas going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nenshi, what will you do to create a budget process that doesn't fail Calgarians and holds city administration accountable to taxpayers?
Terrific question. One of the problems that we have right now is that we have a 3-year budgeting process which is terribly politicized. And it is kind of the worst of 1970s style bureaucracy. Because the departments have no incentive to do things innovative, they spend all their money at the end of the year so that they can justify having had that budget, and the only incentive they have is to get a 2 or 3% increase next year. And this leads to non-stop inflation. The good news is, in my own work, I know a lot about budgeting. And there are different kinds of budgeting techniques we can use. Zero-based budgeting that Alderman McIver talked about is one of many, in order to switch around how that all works. The deal is, though, that we have to be incredibly rigorous and disciplined about it. And the challenge that we have with this council is they've been unable to. So recently the council, all 3 members of the existing council who were here, voted to approve a $300 million departmental budget, the biggest one, without discussion, without debate, and indeed without a single piece of paper in front of them. We can't do that. We can't have zero-based budgeting unless you complain, or zero-based budgeting unless I happen to like your department. Everything has to be on the table. And in order to do that, we need to involve employees in finding more innovative, cost-effective ways of delivering the services Calgarians need. I spent a long time talking to city employees to understand what those ideas are, and building that flexible budgeting process is a really important